I don't want to stay forever young. Living on myself, but drinking my cola underneath the rising sun. I could give a million reasons why. Really, I'm going. And you know that all you have to do is say, just say. All right. Hello, 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 everybody. Let me get, hey, I see some hands waving. Dee Dee, you just double waved at me. You're on I think a computer and a phone, it looks like. So to everybody, I'm glad to have you on today. I am very, very, very excited about today's call for a couple reasons. Let me just make sure we got everybody muted. There we go. Okay. So for those of you that are new with us, my name is Michael Catlow. I'll do a quick little introduction here in just a bit. But tonight's call is going to be really exciting. We're going to be talking about some tools and resources and a great story from one of your own community about how to be a successful travel agent and or travel advisor. So today we're actually going to give you a referral to a great tool for those of you that may be interested in booking cruises. So I'm excited to get to that part after we tell a few of our stories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. And as we do this, I'm going to move my cameras over. All right. Jean and Dolores, Cindy and Kathy, you four are on my screen. So I think some of you are the recurring people that give me my thumbs up and my thumbs down. So can you all see the screen okay as we get started? Okay. So as always, we always start off every Monday night call with saying a big congratulations to all of our new independent travel agents here with Levarti, and for all of you that have been here for a while. If this is maybe your first time hopping on either the live call or watching the recording, we want to say congratulations, and you've made a great choice in joining Levarti as a travel agent, and we'll talk a little bit about why that is. So again, we sometimes get asked, do we have to go over this every single call? But I think yes. These two slides, I see Dee Dee giving me a head nod as well. For those of you who are brand new to being a travel agent or travel advisor, many people don't even know what a host agency is. And so as your host agency, Levarti, along with our partner RSI Vacations, we're here to help support you as an independent contractor, an independent travel agent, independent travel advisor with tools, resources, and infrastructure to run your travel agent business. So here's what's really key to remember through this. You are an independent business owner. You are an independent travel agent. When you're talking with friends and family, your chest should puff out. You should feel like a superhero, right? You are one of the coolest people in the room when you're out and about talking with folks. And so as your host agency, what our role is to connect you to suppliers, provide booking systems, process your commissions, and provide comprehensive training and support. And as always, my wife Katie is over here in the chat. So if you guys would drop some hellos in the chat to Katie, that would be great. And the reason I love this slide, this is the one we're going to continuously repeat over and over again. You've made a great choice in choosing Levarti. See, with different host agencies, there's small agencies, there's boutique agencies, there's large agencies, there's small volume, there's large volume. There's some that only focus on, say, Disney or luxury river cruises. And so with using a company like Levarti and our partner RSI Vacations, you are actually part of some of the highest commission tiers from all of our travel partners around the world because of the volume that this company already produces in travel. So you have access to over 100 of the world's best travel suppliers. And then this second bullet pointed line, which says unmatched 100% commission payouts. Most host agencies, virtually every single one of them out there in the world, you as an independent travel agent who have done all the work in booking the client, getting the client, booking the client, keeping the client, when those commissions come in, those host agencies get those commissions, and then they give their agents 50%, 60%, 70%, maybe 80%, maybe 90% for the top producers. But you here with Levarti, you get 100% of those commissions, which is pretty darn spectacular. So if you like the fact that you get all the commissions, drop a 100 in the chat. So for those of you that I've not yet had a chance to meet yet, my name is Michael Catlow. My wife, Katie, is again right over here on the side to manage the chat with us. We are your Director of Travel Agent Trainings. And the reason why we have been selected for this role is A, we've traveled all over the world, 100 plus countries between the two of us. We've
6 continents, multiple world wonders, but we've also been travel agents and travel advisors for several years. We've been travel entrepreneurs for well over a decade. We've helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people make money in the travel industry. And so we're really excited about pouring into each and every one of you. So, all of these trainings every Monday night, there's really only going to be 3 topics that we rotate around: how to get clients, how to book clients, and how to keep clients, specifically related to your travel agent business. So here's our agenda for today. Every Monday, we do these calls from 8 to 9 ish. We always keep the topics completed before 9, leaving time for Q&As. And then if the Q&A goes beyond 9 o'clock, most of the time we're free to hang out and answer as many questions as we can. So when we do those Q&As at the end, if we can always just kind of keep it around, like, how do I get clients, how do I book clients, and how do I keep clients? If it's technology things, we can maybe answer some of those, but some of that may be Levarti support, and some of it may also be specific to the travel supplier that you're dealing with, but we'll do our best to answer a lot of those questions. So today, give you a quick update on the commissions and registering your booking form. You're going to hear from one of our advisors who I've had a chance to do several one-on-one Zooms over the past week and the past few weeks as I get to know everybody. And man, Maxine and I have done a couple different Zooms together, and she was telling me a couple stories last week that I was like, I don't know if y'all remember. Can you see my goosebumps there? Like, I get goosebumps when I think about this because of the successes that all of you are going to be able to have. So you're going to get to hear a little bit from Maxine. We're going to tell you again another story from last week's call where we talked about, booking piecemeal things versus maybe booking a cruise. We have a brand new personal story that I think will blow you away and really emphasize the fact of how incredible of an opportunity it is for each and every one of you here to be a travel advisor. And then I'm going to introduce you to a currently a free tool for those of you that are interested in booking cruises. I'm actually going to do a demonstration on how you can use it and how it can really, really, really enhance and make your life way easier when it comes to booking cruises. And then, of course, we'll have our Q&As. So let's go ahead and jump in. Katie, after I go over the commissions part, if there's any questions that come up in the chat, if you'll let me know. Okay, so guys, gals, I'm going to give you the quick little, actually, let me just stop sharing for a second so I can see everybody's faces. Okay, so as a travel advisor, right, here's kind of the process. You join as a travel agent, you then register with travel suppliers, and then you book through those travel suppliers. Those travel suppliers then pay commissions. Now, they don't pay you or I directly those commissions. They have to pay it to a host agency, which is part of this industry-wide standard that you'll find no matter what company you're a hosted agent with. And then that host agency is going to deliver those commissions to you. So here, as Levarti has introduced the Levarti Passport Travel Agent Program, they've been building this so that it is a custom plan for each and every one of you so that this can scale and get really big, really fast, so that you all can introduce more agents and we can bless more people with this opportunity of being a travel advisor. And so some of the main components are, you have to be able to register. With all of you have been able to do that. That system is in place. You have to be able to get connected with your travel suppliers. That process is already in place. We may be making some tweaks to make it a little bit faster for you to register. There may be the ability for you to self-register with some travel partners. We'll be updating you in the next few weeks on that. And then you're going to book all that travel. And then the third major piece is earning those commissions. And how do those commissions show up in your bank account? So we announced last week a little bit, and again, we did create a knowledge-based article on this, but here's how travel commissions are typically earned in the travel agent industry. So with Levarti, you're actually, as a travel agent, which includes here with Levarti, commissions are earned when Levarti receives payment from the travel supplier, which is typically 30 to 60 days after travel is completed. Now, there are a few travel suppliers that maybe pay the week after travel happens. Some pay actually like the week before travel happens. But typically, those commissions are going to come from those travel suppliers 30 to 60 days after that travel is completed. And then those commissions will be deposited into your mass pay account by the 15th of the month following the month that Levarti receives payment from the suppliers. And we talked a lot more in depth about this on last week's call if you want to go back and watch the replay, but just in a quick summary, based on when the travel happens, if it's early in the month, middle of the month, end of the month, based on when this travel supplier's billing cycle is, if they bill on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, monthly basis, and then once they get that money over. So it could be, again, 30 to 60 days after travel happens, but that's pretty typical in the travel agent industry. If you were to YouTube how do travel agents make money or read blogs about how do travel advisors make money, you're going to see that's pretty typical. And we're going to do our best to make sure that that gets even faster and faster and smoother and smoother. I don't know if that's proper grammar, but faster and faster, smoother and smoother. But for right now, that's about the process. And so we did mention last week as well that we were estimating the last week of January, which is this week, that there would be a new register your booking form that'll be available in your agent dashboard. So we were hoping that was going to be January 27th, since this is technically the beginning of the last week of January. But thanks to Jake, one of the co-founders of Levarti, we have a call on Wednesday morning with RSI to get an update, to see all the technology and all of that. So still within this last week. So as soon as that register your booking form is in place, I'll be creating a new module on that. We'll be doing lots of trainings. We'll be available for questions. We'll be available for support to make sure that you know how to effectively use it to get those commissions into your bank account as fast as humanly possible. We good on Q&As? Oh, somebody asked where all the calls are stored, all the recordings. So currently they are in the Levarti community. And when you go to the Levarti community, I think it's just levarticommunity.com. When you scroll down the left-hand side, there's a section that says travel agent info, and that's where some documents are. But underneath that, I think that the section is called like recorded calls. And so that'll have the Saturday trainings. It'll also have the travel agent trainings. So once you see it in there, you need to click on the post in the Levarti community, and then you'll be able to access those calls. All right, so Maxine, I just went to your Facebook and I downloaded your profile picture. So I don't know if that's your favorite picture that you love, but I loved this picture. I thought it was super fantastic. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here for a second as we get into this incredible story. So Maxine, I saw you on. Are you on here with us? There you are. Maxine, if you can unmute your call for a quick second or unmute your line. And guys and gals, as we go through this, Maxine, you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, can everybody out there hear Maxine as well? Okay, so as we go through kind of this little Q&A, right, all I did was I got a few of the bullet points of her stories. We're going to keep this kind of live and in flow. We didn't script any of this. So if any of you have any questions for Maxine as well, go ahead and type those in the chat box and I'll keep an eye on that. But Maxine, will you start off just with, 30 seconds, 60 seconds or so? Tell us a little bit about your background. And I know you have a little bit of a travel background or a travel industry background, not as a travel agent or travel advisor. And I'm going to pin you as our main speaker. Spotlight for, okay, there we go. There's Maxine. So Maxine, tell us a little bit about your story before we get into your journey here with Levarti.
Hi everyone. My story is that my mom was actually born in Argentina, and she always believed you can never experience culture in a book. You have to see it, you have to feel it, you have to experience it. And I actually started traveling at the age of 8, and started going to different places. My first vacation as a family was in Chichen Itza in the Yucatan, and it's still a story that impacts me today, every day. And the experience I had in the temples, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. And for me, having my dad love cruising and going on vacations, he always kind of put me in charge of the family vacations. And I started researching and learning what everything was, and I just fell in love with it.
Oh, that's great. So how many of you, regardless of the exact details, like you've been inspired by something travel-wise, whether it was a personal experience, watching National Geographic? I remember like when I was 6 years old, I was sick one night and I was laying on the couch, but National Geographic was on and I watched this show about a platypus in Australia. And I was like, that's the coolest animal in the world, right? Duckbill, beaver tail, lays eggs. I was like, I want to see a platypus in the wild. And that was actually one of my drivers for travel travel. So Maxine, thanks for sharing kind of your background. So how long have you, this is your first time being a travel agent or travel advisor here with Levarti?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, and as raw as real, whether it's good, whether there were challenges or whatever, when you first started thinking about becoming a travel agent or a travel advisor, were you excited? Were you nervous? Were you both? Did you believe you could do it? Did you not believe you could do it? Like, what was going on in your head when you made the decision to first say, let me go ahead and do this?
I was nervous and excited. I
Anybody
mean,
else relate to that one? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, it's an exciting time because, the experiences you've had, I've had personally with travel, and be able to express that and share that with future clients to have them create the same memories. For me, that's impactful.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so when you got started as a travel agent or travel advisor, did you know what to do on day number one?
No.
No, okay, okay. So this is really key, right? I know some of these are somewhat leading questions, but I really want everybody to get this, right? We all start off, doesn't matter being a travel agent or the cliche riding a bike, right? The first time you ride a bike, you fall down, but you get up and you keep going. Or when you first start walking, there's all these little metaphors and so forth. And so being a travel agent is the exact same thing. For it, when it's your first time, there's excitement, there's nervousness, there's what the heck do I do? Can I do it? Will I do it? Will people want to book with me? Will they like what I'm offering? Where do I focus? Do I post on social media? Do I text people? What do I say when I'm out and about? Anybody else feel like your head's going to explode at different times like through that? So, Maxine, applicable in your world as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to open it up and I want you to take however much time you want to kind of share about this because you've been on virtually every call, right? Whether you've watched live
Yes.
or watched the recordings, but not only just listening to the information, you were telling me like I was ready to take action, right? Like you've been
Right.
doing this longer, so I was a student. So just kind of open-ended, open floor. If you'll share a little bit about your mentality as you've grown in your travel agent business, and then we'll get into some of like what you've done on social media, which has led to customers and all that. So open floor, Maxine.
Okay. I don't know how to share my screen, or if
Here,
you
let me
want to
make
share my or if you want to share my profile. I mean, basically you always encourage, this challenge this week, post anything traveled, challenge this week, talk to people. And like you said, you've been doing this a lot longer. So if I implement what you've been doing for your years, why wouldn't that make me just as successful? So it's like I have a picture of me and my family on the Harmony of the Seas that we went on in May as a profile picture. And I said, we have cruises sail anywhere in the world. For the Disney Travel Center, if you do the, the credits of the certificates for Disney Travel, you get the disneytravel.com where you can help clients, and clients can surf basically anything on the web for Disney.
Yep. I'm just scrolling your
And
Facebook page here, Maxine.
is that my Facebook page, my personal page, or the actual business one?
You want me to go to your business one? Yep, I'll go to the
Yes,
business
please.
one. Okay, give me just 1 second.
No, that's perfectly fine.
You can keep going.
Oh, okay. So then it's like on my photos, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, they're the two biggest advertisements that I get when it comes to their promotions. Oh, and Disney for their promotions. So it's like enjoy a day in Paradise K for Carnival, Royal Caribbean, all their cruises. And then if I'm looking up reservations for guests that want to go different places, I include those too because I found some great all-inclusives in the Yucatan, in Punta Cana, which is in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Vallarta, that have beautiful all-inclusive reservation prices that you wouldn't think to be able to find. And so when he suggests the challenges for the week, I try to make it a point to post every day or every other day, whether I do it in my business or I also do it on my personal timeline. I say, hey, look what I found in Punta Cana, and I put my link at Travel Magic Max. And I have been doing that for a while. And someone who knew someone told a friend of theirs that say, hey, this person's a travel agent. I know you've wanted to travel with Disney. And she's like, never been on a cruise, never done anything, but I want to do Disney. How can you help me? And I said, well, Where do you want me to begin? Let's go over the ships. Let's go over, your half deposits till March 14th. And I mean, what Disney and all the different travel providers provide you in our emails and everything else, I take that and I make it into a post. So that way virtually anybody can see it.
Yeah. So, Maxine, I am on your Travel Magic Max page now and kind of scrolling through. And I want to show everybody a couple things, right? So, whether you're posting stuff on your personal page or Maxine has created a travel page, which is Travel Magic Max. Now, it's not a group, it's a public page, so anybody can kind of search it. And I want you really to notice this. Like, she doesn't have a million followers, right? There's 90 followers on this page because, Maxine, this is relatively new for you.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, as she said, she's been really consistent just posting on here. So, here's, I'm assuming this here was a screenshot from an email, maybe?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So, let's listen to this, right? This is the importance of registering with travel suppliers, receiving their email newsletters. Maxine, how long did it take you to create this post?
2 minutes, maybe.
2 minutes. She received an email from Carnival, took a screenshot, I'm assuming, from your phone or from your computer, and then just wrote like two sentences with a hyphen in the first sentence, right? And took 2 minutes. And now notice this one just got posted a couple days. There's no likes, there's no comments. So any of you who might be posting and thinking, well, nobody's seeing my stuff, right? Here's another one. No like, no comment, but Santorini, one of my favorite places in the world. Here's a great informational post. Do US citizens need an ETA visa for the UK? And so just
Yep.
consistent, yeah, yeah, for sure consistently posting different things. And then, Maxine, I see a lot of these shares on here. So are you sharing this to a particular place as well when you share it?
Nope. I've seen that it's just getting shared.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so here's lesson number one I want everybody to kind of take away, and then we're going to come back to your story. Lesson number one, consistently letting people know that you are in the business of travel. And notice on Maxine's page, sometimes it was a tip about a visa, sometimes it was a deal from a cruise line, sometimes it was a picture of a beautiful destination, sometimes it may be something of her own like travels. Sometimes it could be, you could also post, she mentioned Disney. Hey, I just learned this from the College of Disney and posting that, but just consistently posting. And here's one of the reasons why this is really key, right? Even if nobody likes it or comments or engages on it, if we remember our friends and family, they may not be in the mood to book travel today on January 27th, but February 27th, they may be thinking about planning like a spring break trip or a summer trip. And if you're consistent when the time is right, when you have what's called top of mind awareness, who do you think they're going to potentially reach out to? The person that posts once every 3 weeks that they're a travel agent, or somebody that consistently says, here's a deal, here's what's going on, here's what I'm learning. And so that's tip number one is be consistent in your promotion of your travel agency business. So Maxine, one of the things you said was a friend knew somebody who wanted to travel. So it wasn't even your friend, right? They referred you to somebody. Is that correct?
Correct.
Since I was scrolling through your page while you were sharing that, will you just restate kind of that little bit and how that trip came about?
Um, she's a Disney fanatic, and I'm a Disney fanatic. I lived in Florida and I worked for Disney for a while. So Disney and me kind of go hand in hand. And she's like, "Oh, I know this girl who's a Disney fanatic. You should go through her because she's a travel agent." And so when she came up to me and she's like, "So I hear you're a travel agent. Do you do cruises?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Do you do Disney?" And I said, "Yes." I go, "Actually, I have, the College of Knowledge when it comes to Disney and their cruises. Not only that, but I worked for Disney Cruise Lines when I lived in Florida. So I'm pretty good on some of their older ships, like the Disney Wonder, Disney Magic, Disney Fantasy, Disney Dream." And I have been posting from Disney that they're now here in San Diego for the Disney Wonder. They're leaving out of Galveston for the Disney Magic. And she's like, oh my God, she's like, these are my dates that I have available. Can you help me? And I said, yes. And she actually found me on my page on one of my Disney posts and says, I'm looking for a cruise. Can you help me? And that's how it all got started.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, everybody drop some eights in the chat box for Maxine. We're gonna let her share a little bit more here for a second as well. But so Maxine, that cruise in particular is booked, deposited, confirmation number, like all good to go, yeah?
Yes, they're
Okay.
sailing next March.
March 2026.
Yes, for spring break.
Okay, great. Awesome. So we know that sometimes commissions pay out after, right? And I talked last week about like our first year as a travel advisor only made a couple $1,000s, but then the next year and the next year, because sometimes travel is 6 months or a year in advance. So again, if you love travel, if you love being kind of service to other people, this is a great business to be in. Just know that some of those commissions may take a little bit to kind of start paying. But Maxine, you've also booked some more travel, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that one.
I booked another Carnival cruise, a referral from a friend of a friend, and she she's been on Carnival before and she had her VIFP number with Carnival and I looked her up and she had a great rate on an interior stateroom midship for a Thanksgiving sailing for this November.
And so you were
So
able
she's
to
going on, I'm
you
sorry.
were able to apply her same promos that she was getting with her loyalty number, and she was all happy and all that, right?
The only difference is instead of putting $100 down, should have put 150, but she said that just goes towards her overall balance, so that wasn't a loss.
That's
So
right.
she was super excited about it, and I got her mid-room, and she found out that a friend of hers was already sailing, and I got her the stateroom literally right across the way in interior, and that one's already booked, deposit done, and she'll be sailing on the Carnival Freedom on November 22nd out of Port Canaveral.
That's amazing. All right. So, a couple other things. Be consistent about posting, right? Maxine didn't know what she was doing ahead of time, even though, like, it's pretty simple. You click a few buttons, right? And then you do it. Maxine, did you ever call into or access any of the live agent supports with either Carnival or Disney? Did you use any resources that are available to you as an advisor, or did you just book it straight up?
No, with Disney, because it's a family of six, I definitely had to call that in because you can't do a cruise line. But Disney, their call agents are fantastic and they helped me get the two rooms booked together side by side, connecting verandas. And then with Carnival, I wanted to make sure that she was getting the best deal. And when I called Carnival, I had this great lady and I took her name down because I'm a name taker and I always like to encourage that if I ever get a manager and be like, hey, so and so was fantastic. And she helped me get all the VIFP promotions she had and calling it in, like you suggested, you get to help the client even more with any future questions they might have.
Amazing. All right, I'm going to go back to gallery view. For those of you that are watching on video, can you see the gallery now? Again, it's not just Maxine on there. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that heads up. Okay, so couple tips. Be consistent, right? She got referrals. The bookings are done. The deposits are done, right? They're now able to start making their payments. Tip number two is even though Maxine didn't know what she was doing, she had an idea. She started learning the process, started being like coachable and teachable. She used the resources that were available to her by calling into Disney, using all of the support and so forth, which is, I'm so glad Maxine did this, is what I've been saying for 8 weeks now or 9 weeks now. And she's now got multiple bookings completed and done. So to those that are on video, if y'all would, let's give Maxine a round of applause. If you're just on chat, put some fire emojis or hellos or great job or something in there. And Maxine, I'll ask, it's okay if the answer is no. Any other tips that you would give? Or again, the floor is yours. Any just open-ended comments that you'd want to make or anything I missed in the questions?
No, no, I don't think so. Just if you're going to post something on a business social media platform, I do it not on my personal page, but I do it on my personal stories and I tag my link in the page. And that has helped because my stories are public, but my personal profile isn't. So
Got it.
that would be
Got it.
my only suggestion.
All right. So Maxine, thank you so much. I'm so glad that we were able
Thank
to
you.
have your story shared. Okay, so we're going to move on to one quick personal story, similar to Maxine, right? But again, there's a reason why I want to share this story compared to the story that we shared last week. And then I'm going to introduce you to the free cruising tool platform for selling and booking and quoting cruises. But in order to go over this next section, I'm going to bring up my amazing wife, Katie. Again, for those of you who've been on with us multiple times, you know, I say she does most of the calls to the cruise line. She does most of the back end. She does most of the technicality. And if for those of you who were not on, I think it was just last week where we talked about Ireland, right? How many of you that were on here remember we talked about the example of Ireland and the 6.5 hours that we spent with this client? And it'll probably be about another hour. And in total, it turned out to be about $200 worth of commissions. But it's for, yeah, Dee Dee's like, no, it's crazy, right? But again, it was a referral, it was a friend. So we wanted to be able to do it. But remember, I said, what if you spent that same amount on a cruise that was, say, 16% of commissions and what the difference would be in thousands of dollars? Katie was joking. She's like, it's like you spoke it into existence because after our call on Monday, we had another personal request we are travel agents in addition to being right the trainer for Levarti. So I'm going to have Katie share a little bit about that. And then we're not going to spend a lot of time on this one like we did last week. And then we'll pop over to cruising. So Katie, the floor is yours. Let me move that. All right. Can you all see the screen? Maxine, Dee Dee, Jean, and Kathy, you can see that? Okay.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so really quickly, this is what happened. It's interesting because this was a client that started with us in August of 2024, started asking these questions. However, they got hit with some storm damage from some hurricanes that came through and a tree fell on their house, on their roof. So I thought the booking was done. I thought they're never coming back, but oddly enough, they did. So they came back and they came back with a vengeance and got everything booked. So how we got the client? Oh, it's up there. August 22nd, 2024. Family friend. Yeah, sorry. So as a family friend of mine, I've known him since I was really, really little. They went to church with us, and he wants to do an Alaska Princess cruise tour for he and his wife for their 40th anniversary. And two other couples are going with them to celebrate this trip with them.
Cruise tour is?
I will be happy to. So we actually have another Alaska cruise booked in July. We have taken an Alaska cruise as well. But what a cruise tour is it's booked. It's several cruise companies will do them, but that is a cruise backed either with a pre-cruise or a post-cruise land tour. They're usually done in Alaska because Alaska is so freaking cool that it's so cool that you need to see it by sea and you need to see it by land. So a cruise tour, this one is actually 12 days. They're anywhere from about 10 to some of them are close to like 15, 17 days. So this cruise particular is 7 days of a cruise and then it's followed by 5 days on land. And the way Princess does them, I think Norwegian does them the same way, is they package everything together. They take care of you from transition from ship to the land. Everything is included. It is really a fantastic luxury way to do Alaska, and it's definitely on my list. We've done Alaska cruise, but we've not done the land part, and I'm living vicariously through this family. So that is what a cruise tour is. And obviously it is a higher price range because it's basically 2 trips in one. So we love to book the cruise tours for sure. Where we booked it on One Source Cruises, which is the travel agent site for Princess. And yes, I booked it online and there have been multiple phone calls to Princess just because the cruise tour is a little different. It's a little different on how you even find the cruise tour in order to book it. So you pretty much have to research in 2 different places. So just making sure that I got all my ducks in a row I did a lot of phone calls with Princess and a lot of online chat. So Princess has a great chat system as well. I say great, even though I complain about it because it's kind of slow, but they're really good to respond on chat if you don't want to sit on the phone and wait for someone. So the total travel cost for these 3 bookings is $28,808.08. And it actually just went up because right before this call, the third cabin booked travel protection as well, which we get commissions on that. So the cruise total went up by about $722 and our commissions went up as well. So the total commissions on this was $3,772.80, which feels really, 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 really freaking good. And here's really the interesting part is literally the booking time. I did this on Friday, or whatever day you were in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, Friday. So I thought I was doing just like an informational call. One of the ladies that was heading up the cruise said, "Can I call you at 11? I have some questions." I was like, "Sure." So she called at 11, and by 5 o'clock that evening, all 3 cabins were booked and deposited. So it did take 6 hours of actually booking this, putting all the ducks in a row and get everybody's names and all of that kind of stuff in. So it took 6 hours, which I was not expecting to do on that Friday. However, at $3,772, I wasn't really mad about them messing up my schedule. So it was really interesting to me that, and I texted Michael, I said, that is so fascinating because it literally took the exact same amount of time to book it, because most of what I did with the Ireland trip was booking because there was headaches and there was problems. This one, it just took that long to get everybody's information and to get them all squared away. But the exact same amount of time, and it was $200 versus $3,000, almost $4,000 in commissions. So again, as we showed before, the hourly rate so far, if it's only 7 hours, we're doing pretty good, $538. And if it ends up being 8 by the time that we answer all their questions and get them sailing, they are sailing this year, so they're sailing in May, is $471. So not bad as an hourly rate as a travel agent. And here's the fun thing about it. So we talk about hourly rate and we talk about all of this, and Michael's mentioned this before, so I'll just hit it again, is that really what we are is we're customer service agents. The reason that I had 5 different calls to both Royal Caribbean and Princess today is because we have a lot of cruises booked. And for number 2, because there's questions and I just want to make sure that I have all the information for them. So they booked their own flights, thank goodness, and they booked their pre-cruise hotel on their own. But I suggested which one to book and they just booked it on their own. So when it comes to like customer service, where they're asking you questions, like I had the lady call tonight, and she just had questions about like, what does casual dining mean? What does this mean when it's included here? And she sailed Princess before, but she sailed them like 10 years ago. So things have changed. So when they're asking questions like that, could your client Google that information? Could your client call princess.com themselves and ask yes, they could. But you're here to do that for them. And so I even made a post about it on our own personal Facebook page today, showing how many times I called Princess and Royal Caribbean in my phone chat to simply say, when you book with a travel agent like me, then I am saving you time because I will sit on hold. I will sift through the automated prompts to get to the right person. I will call back when they're busy. I will put my number in so they'll call me on the day, and you, the lovely client, just get to show up. And then you get an email from me with all of your answers in one spot. So that's what being a travel agent is kind of like, and it can pay you really well.
Awesome. Thank you much.
You're welcome.
All right. So guys and gals, let me move this little Zoom bar out of the way. So let's think about this here for a second, okay? Couple little learning points that I've said over and over and over again on these calls, okay? You as an independent agent get to pick and choose what you book. You can piecemeal things, you can do individual hotels, you can do rental cars, you can do tours, you can do whatever. But what's one of the things I say over and over again? Cruises and like land tour packages are usually some of the easiest to book, the highest commissions, and like the best experience that the customers are going to have. So let's go down to that little note down there. We could have booked their flights. We could have booked their pre-cruise hotel. But again, they had the ability to do it. We recommended they book their flights on their own because then they have control over making changes. And instead of being focused on like, how do we add $11 more into our commissions, but add a gazillion times more stress and potential headaches of, are things going to get delayed? And Cruises, I'm telling you, are some of the easiest. They pay some of the highest commissions and they have some of the best services. So that's my recommendation to you. Now, we don't really focus on an hourly rate. Let's just look at that $3,700 on if that was all you did in a month. You did one of those every month and you made an extra $3,700 a month. What if it was every 2 months? Once a quarter, you did one of those. Most of you are here doing this on a spare time, part-time basis. Imagine it grows and grows and grows over time. Guys, gals, that's not a bad little side gig, right? And this is one of the powerful things about being with Levarti. Vast majority of host agencies, that $3,700 in commissions, you would only get 50%, 60%, 70%, maybe 80% if you're a top producer. Here, if you do something like that with Levarti, you get 100% of those commissions right away. All right. So let me stop sharing. Everybody good with that? All right, let's thank Maxine. Just another little travel tip, little tips and tutorials in there. And so now I want to talk to you all about a tool that you can use if you want to book cruises. Now, you have the Odysseus platform, which the Odysseus platform has some pros to it. One of the pros is you can search multiple cruise lines. You can send multiple quotes. And just so you know, whether you're using Odysseus or you're going directly to Princess or directly to Royal Caribbean or directly to Carnival, technically they're agent portals, you're still going to do that type of booking with this tool that I'm going to show to you. This tool is going to help you generate leads for cruise clients. It's also going to help you sell, communicate, and quote with cruise clients. But to actually complete the booking, you still need to do that booking through your credentials with RSI with Levarti and RSI so that you get your commissions. So how many of you are excited about seeing a free technology that may make your cruise booking way easier? Okay. So I'm going to show you how this works, and then I'm going to give you the link to where you can set up your free advisor profile. So I don't want you to go to their website while I'm going through this, because if you accidentally register as a customer, then you won't be able to use that email for your free advisor platform. So if y'all just wait to set up your free advisor account until 5 or 10 minutes or so, I want to show you kind of how this works. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Let me go to Google Chrome. Okay, can you all see my screen here? Okay, thank you, Jean. I'm going to make this a little bigger. I'm going to move my Zoom bar. Okay, this platform is called Cruisin', Cruisen. There is a mobile app, but as an advisor, I'm going to recommend you stick with the desktop platform for most of the functionality, okay? And also, you're probably going to need to do some tests with this. I'm happy to be a little pretend customer, but I want to show you some of the features that this has. Because on previous calls, we've talked about an Excel spreadsheet for managing your customers. We've talked about CRMs and ways to kind of keep everything together. Well, if you're going to do cruises, this does not have any impact on flights, hotels, rental cars, tours, all of that. This is only for cruises. And Maxine, Dee Dee, Jean, and Kathy, you're my kind of go-to. Down the left-hand side, can you see this trip column? And where you see I've got Levarti demo, Charlotte, Royal Test, 2025 sailing, Russell Painter, Greer. You can see I've got all these different trips down here on the left-hand side. So this is a platform that will allow you in one place to manage all of your cruise clients. Dee Dee's already given thumbs up and shaking her head. Where you can manage all of your clients as well as those that you're doing quotes for, those that haven't booked, those that you have booked. You can kind of keep everything in one place, okay? I'm going to skip this second column and I'm going to go to this third column where it says cruises here. Can you all see this column that I'm scrolling where it says cruises? Thank you, Jean. Okay, when you're filtering cruises, you can filter by different dates as specific as you want to get, prices, how long you want to sail, different cruise lines, different origin ports, destination ports, by ship name, by when the ship was launched. So you can filter by basically all of the different parameters that you may need for a client, whether your client is searching for a cruise or you're helping them book the cruise. So does that make sense to everybody? Those of you on video, right? And Katie, if there are questions in there, if you'll keep an eye up. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. I'm gonna show y'all some mother effing badass features, okay? I'm not gonna drop any bad words, but I'm gonna show you some really cool stuff here. So I have to share my entire desktop. I'm gonna move this over a little bit. Here we go. We're gonna move this guy. We're gonna close this guy. Okay. Can you all see Katie's text message here now? Okay, so now that you can see. Okay, so guys and gals, watch this, okay? Let's pretend you are brand new using this platform. Down here on the bottom left-hand side, This blue platform is going to be me as an advisor. This right side is going to be as if I was a customer. Okay, so we're going to pretend this is the customer and this is you as an advisor. So over here on the left-hand side in my profile, I can put all of my information, my phone number, my email address, a little short bio, my favorite cruise lines and that type of stuff. But do you all see up here this where it says invite clients to create new trips and it has a public link here? So watch this. If I copy this link and I come in here to my text messages with Katie, hang on, and I send Katie this link. All right, I got to make this all smaller. Hang on, I got to stop sharing for a second so I can get both my screens up. Guys, I've got to close my like seeing all of you because it blocks everything in the screen here. So let me minimize this. Let me close this. And I'm going to go to Katie's text. Okay, did that text come through too, Katie? All right, I'm going to come back to sharing the screen. Sorry, technology is sometimes my friend. Sometimes there's a lot of little moving pieces here. Okay, we're going to share the desktop. And we're going to open up Katie's text. Okay, so you guys can see Katie's text on the right and my advisor platform over here on the left. All right, I'm now going to operate on my phone. I want you to watch over here on the left-hand side on the advisor side. So I'm going to go into Katie's. Nope. I'm going to, the darn thing's not sharing. Guys, hang on one second. Just do me a favor. I'm going to do it a different way instead of showing you on the screen here. All right, share screen. We're just going to go to Chrome here, and I'm going to use my phone. Okay, so on Katie's phone, I'm going to create a new trip, and we're going to call it Levarti Test 2. On here, I'm going to say that I am sailing from the southeast, and I'm going to look in the summer months of 2025, May, June, July, August, and let's add September. So what I'm going to do, remember, I'm your customer. Let's say you've posted a link on Facebook, on Instagram, you've sent a text, you've sent an email, you've got a newsletter that you send out, and you send this over. And as a customer, Katie is going to create a trip, okay? So as an advisor, you can create a trip or your customers can do it. Can you all see over here on the left-hand side where it says Levarti Test 2? Well, guess what? As an advisor, I just received an email saying one of your contacts has created a sailing. One of your contacts has opened up this cruising app. And so if I come in here as an advisor, you see here where it says Charlotte V just created a new trip. I want you all to watch this little section down here called Navigator. All right. Pretend I'm the customer and I'm going to come in and say, hey, Michael and Katie, I'm super excited to have you help me book my trip. Can you all see that live populating there in the chat? Okay, Dee Dee's excited. She's seeing where this goes. So now as an advisor, I'm going to come in here and let me just zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to say, oh, hang on. My computer's trying to attach a file. Hit the wrong button. The zoom bar is in the way. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, hey, Charlotte, do me a favor. Click on the filters. Click on the cruise filters. Select some cruises. Make sure to like the ones you want a price on, and I'll get back to you ASAP. Can you all see how I typed that in there? Okay, I'm going to stop. Well, actually, I want you to keep watching this navigator. And if you can see on the camera here, what I'm going to do as a customer, I'm going to turn this light off. Sorry, my light might get a little bad here for a second. As a customer, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click the cruises tab. And then I'm going to come up to the filters, just like I was showing you on the advisor platform. And let's say I'm going to select 6 to 9 days, Disney, Norwegian, Princess, and Royal Caribbean, and I'm going to click apply. Now watch this. Watch this little navigator down here. If I'm a customer and I go, oh, this cruise on the Harmony of the Seas, I really like this one. Can you all see how, as an advisor, you get a note? I see Jean seeing that. Or maybe they like this one, or maybe they like this one. So now, as an advisor, I can see the exact sailings that my client wants to go on. Does that make sense to those that are on bit? Cindy, thank you for, and Kathy. So now watch this. I'm going to go back to Navigator as the customer, and I'm going to say, hey, these cruises look awesome. What's the weather like? Or no, let's do, remember, as a customer, what are some excursions I can do in Bahamas? You think that's like a question a customer may ask? No, I have a little typo in there, right? When I hit it. Watch this, guys and gals. Watch this. You ready? Down here on the bottom left, you see how it says, hey, these cruises look awesome. What are some excursions I can do in the Bahamas? When I'm as an advisor, can you all see this little robot? It may look small. This is an AI bot that if I have no idea what to do in the Bahamas, right? Let's say I've never been. If I click on this little AI bot and I say, can you please share some general excursions to do in Nassau, Bahamas? Watch this. AI, it's going to, based on the question that you ask and so forth, it's going to populate an answer that even if you don't know the answers, in Nassau, Bahamas, you can enjoy a variety of exciting excursions. Here's a few popular options: snorkeling and diving, blah, 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 blah. And then the customer says, wow, this is great, right? I think I want to book this cruise. Now, keep in mind, I'm only showing you one customer, but you can be working with 5, 10, 15, 20 different quotes going on at the same time. You just populate back and forth between the two. So now let's say that this customer decides this is the cruise they want to do. Can you all see what I did is I clicked this cruise and it populated all of the different, it's got the ship details, it's got the deck plans, it's got the starting price of whether it's interior, outside, balcony, and suites. Can you all see that? Jean, you can see it. Cindy, you can see it? Awesome. So let's say they select this cruise. This is where it gets even crazier, okay? I want you to watch down here in this navigator because here's one of the kickers as a travel agent. You want correct spelling of names. You want correct birth dates. You want correct details. You want payment information. How many of you remember we've talked about like having a credit card authorization form from customers and so forth? Well, watch this. On the customer side, if I go to the rooms, watch down here on the bottom left. I'm going to add, let's pretend this is a girl, and I'm going to add my husband. You see where it says husband has joined the room? And now I'm actually going to add a room and we're going to call it kids room. So now me as the customer in my kids room, I'm now adding child 1. Now I've already pre-typed all of this stuff, right? So a normal customer, it's going to take them, just a minute to type those details in. And so now I've put in those details. So now as the advisor, do you all see over here on the right-hand side where we've got room 1 has Charlotte and husband, child 1 and child 2? Can you all see that? Now watch this. If and when they're ready, we've communicated back and forth, blah, 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 blah. I go to click book room. Guess what I have access to? All of the these are all required fields for the traveler. I've got all of their spelling of their names. I've got their date of birth. I've got their address. I even have their payment info where, again, I've already pre-populated this stuff. It's all just kind of like sample, right? So just a fake credit card number. But this allows you to sell, quote, message back and forth, select different cruises, use AI to answer questions that you can't answer. And then as we wrap this up, over here on the left-hand side, you see how this one says 2 hours next to it. This one says 13 hours, 13 hours, 13 hours, and so forth. Whenever your clients, let's say you're out and about, let's say you're asleep and your client is sitting on the couch in the middle of the night and they're liking cruises or sending you a message, it gives you real-time notifications of when the most recent communication happened with each and every one of those trips. Okay. Now I know I'm going over a lot just to kind of fit this in a quick 10-15 minute period. The last thing that I want to share, and this is really key from what Maxine shared. If this is my customer, you see up here where it says trip invitation? Well, guess what? The customer can invite friends, family, children, neighbors. It could be, hey, I see a couple people applauding, right? It could be a quilting club that you get everybody into this chat here and they're all voting on the cruise that they want to go on. And then once you've completed the booking, as an advisor, remember, you have to go into Odysseus or you have to go into Cruising Power. You have to actually complete the booking in there. But you can then come in and upload your booking confirmations, your quotes, your documents, any other type of things, which then populates for the customer there. So a couple things just to summarize this as we wrap up. You can manage all of your cruise clients in one place, whether they're a quote, whether they're booked, whether they're confirmed. And if you don't, you can also come in and you can archive the trip. So let's say they're like, oh, I'm just not ready to book yet. Maybe I want to look again next year. But then you can just pull it back into your active list. You can communicate with everybody in the trip in one place. You can search all available ocean cruise inventory. They're getting ready to add river cruises. You can collect customer details, and everything is all in here for you. So I wanted to show you real live scenarios on how we've used it. Okay. And then we'll wrap this up. And I know there'll be some questions on it. So we'll answer those questions. Okay. So this is a post that I made. Can you see it on January 16th? Can you see this? I made this on Facebook. To all my DIY cruise bookers out there, you have to check out the free new Cruising app, which allows you to search thousands of cruise itineraries, filter and sort by your preferences, see estimated pricing, select your favorite sailing, and then the best part, I, as an advisor, will get you the best possible price and perks available. All done right from your phone. Download the free Cruising app here. And I sent my advisor link in that post. Do you all see that? Does that make sense? So you can create whatever language you want and then check it out. A friend of mine, EJ, created a trip. A friend of mine, you can see Victor G created 2 separate trips. This one is the one we did as a demo. EJ created a trip. Mike Filippo created a trip. And we just get notified over and over again. And so why this is important, Maxine posts every day on her Facebook page. But if she posts about Royal Caribbean, she has no idea if somebody just goes to royalcaribbean.com and books a cruise on their own. She just marketed for Royal Caribbean because you don't have a way to kind of capture that lead. Does that make sense to those of you that are on video? So with something like this, if you're going to promote cruises, any of those posts that you make, you can put your advisor link in there and say, hey, if you like to cruise, go ahead and create your own trip. And as soon as they create it, you can start communicating with them right there. In the advisor platform, for those of you that may want to set up an account, there is down here in the bottom right, there is a bunch of tutorials, okay? There's a submit a bug, submit a feature request, communicate with tech support. So there's a lot of resources that are available to you, but that is how Katie and I are generating new leads. Katie, did you post the link or?
I was waiting for you to tell me.
I'll post it.
I'm sorry. I
So
was answering a question.
that's right. So if any of you want to, again, it's a completely free service, right? There's no fees. There's no anything like that as of now. They may start introducing a small fee in, say, March because it's a newer technology, but you can use it for free, right? Just go here, use whatever email address you want. Just make sure it's one that you have access to because that's where all of your like two-factor authentications and your email notifications and stuff like that are going to come. So go ahead and just click on that link and you can set up your free advisor profile. If they do launch a fee in March, anybody who is an advisor before the fee gets launched, they're going to have 1 year of like $10 a month or something like that, 10 or 15 bucks a month versus whatever they're going to charge. But right now, for the foreseeable future, it's a completely free platform. No catch, no gotchas, no nothing. So feel free to use it. Okay. So I'll answer answers on cruising. Katie, just real quick, were there questions about other travel stuff before cruising?
Just remind people how they can book time with you. I said just read the support ticket. Is that what I said?
Okay, for those of you that do not yet have my calendar link, if you'd like to do a private one-on-one about booking, about anything like that, if you will do me a favor, submit a support ticket saying, "Can I get Michael's calendar?" And then once you've sent that support ticket, we'll get you the calendar link, and then you can always just use that at some point moving forward. But we just want to track everything through support. So if you want to get a one-on-one call, happy to do it. Happy to help you with whatever you need. Just send a support ticket if we haven't done one up until this point. Was that it pretty much on those?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me just read through here. After they choose the cruise, they want, where do you find the confirmation number to actually do the booking? Okay, so Kathy, that's a great question. So here's kind of how it works, right? The pricing that's available in cruising, I want you all to kind of think outside of Levarti for a second, okay? Levarti, then there's Sally's host agency and Jack's host agency and hundreds of host agencies out there. And all of those host agencies may have different volume levels, which may have different pricing, which may have different amenities, which may have different perks. And so what happens if you use cruising is, let's say somebody selects a sailing that they like. The prices that they're going to see in cruising are going to say starting from or estimated pricing, because on a minute by minute process, the prices can change. So you would then take whichever sailing they like or sailings they like, and then you're going to go to Odysseus, or you're going to go to Cruising Power, or you're going to go to Virgin Voyages, or you're going to go to Disney Travel Agents, and then you're going to get a live real-time quote with the perks and amenities that Levarti offers, with the price that Levarti has, which is going to be some of the best in the industry. And then you're going to just, when you do that quote, you can save that quote as a PDF. You can take a screenshot of it, and then you can upload it right into that navigator chat with Cruisin', so it serves as a quote. And here's why this is important. Normally, the process is you get a quote, you email it, and then you have to wait on that email. You have no idea if they've even opened up that email. They wait 3 days, 5 days. They forward it to a friend. The friend then has a question, asks them, and then they're asking you, but it's not the actual question because they reworded it. So this allows you to keep everything in that one place. So a confirmation number or a booking number, you're going to get that number from either Cruising Power, Virgin Voyages, Odysseus, wherever you end up completing the booking and making the deposit. Once you've got that document, then you can upload that into Cruisin' as a document for them. So that confirmation number is going to come from the cruise line or from the booking platform where you use it. Okay. Any other questions? If you want to, okay, Shannon. Shannon's got questions every time. I love it. Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah. So on the cruising app you just showed us, does it require your CLIA or IATA number or both?
Nope. Nope. No requirements.
Okay. And somebody said that you really only need one or the other. You don't need IATA and cruising. Is that true?
99% of the time we use an IATA. Very rarely do we ever use a CLIA. So yeah, most cases, if you're ever calling in somewhere or working with a travel supplier, they just ask for one. Some of them actually even just ask for your agency phone number. Some of them don't even ask for the IATA, but in this particular case, you don't even need to put anything in Cruisin' because you're not doing the booking in Cruisin'. You're doing the booking actually in Cruising Power or wherever you're doing that. So none of it is needed.
Thank you.
Yep. And Aram just said, what is the host agency? If you don't see Levarti in there as a host agency, you can create a new. So when you're in that section on the registration, just type in Levarti. And then once it's in there once, it'll show up for everybody. So just nobody from Levarti has used it yet. Cynthia, by the way, I'm so excited about that platform. You're going to love it. And I'm happy to answer questions for you on it too. So Cynthia.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay. There's a lot of back and forth in the Cruisin' app to collect all the data, basically.
That's
then you
correct.
still
Yeah.
have to go to the supplier to actually book it.
That's
So
correct.
when you hit the supplier site, are you typing all this stuff in manually, or is there a way to upload it?
Yep. Yeah, so that's a great question. So right now it is a manual entry, right? Copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, or you can print it out and type it. Again, Cruisin' actually just launched in November, so they are creating new features where you'll be able to export the data. But each and every, and there will be probably second half of the year the ability to book end to end, like where you can actually do the booking in there. But for right now, it's just a sales tool. So yes, you have to manually enter that information, but at least you've gathered it from the customer with correct spelling, correct dates, and all of that stuff. So you do have to manually enter it. Does that answer your question? Yep. Okay, Donna, and then I do see we had a question in the chat, but Donna, go ahead.
Small follow-up to Cynthia's. Is there something to save contacts? So if these can become repeat, do they have to be added manually each time, or can we merge them over?
So in Cruisin', if once somebody sets up like their customer profile, they can create as many trips as they want, each and every individual trip. So their spelling is going to be the same, that all their details are going to be the same. They just have different trips. Now, if you are completing a booking, say on Royal Caribbean for March of 2025, you have to enter that. And then they want to do another one in October 2025, you have to do another
In the
booking.
portal, in the portal.
That's right. But you've got all that
Got it.
information in the Cruisin' platform.
Second, earlier in the call, you had said, don't look this up. Once you do this as a customer, then you have there's kind of an issue. So I saw the link up, advisors.cruisin.app. Is there a way that we sign up as an advisor as opposed to a customer?
That link is the way to sign up as an advisor. That'll,
Perfect.
once you put your email address in there. Yeah. Now,
Thank you.
a little kind of best practice tip. What Katie and I did when we first started using it is we did use our main email as our advisor platform. And then we did download the app with Katie's email address so we could see what the customer was doing as well as us as an advisor. So we could kind of play around with it a little bit. So make sure you set your first account up through that advisor link with your email you want to use for your travel business. And then you can do a customer one later if you want, but it has to be a separate email.
And I'm thinking as we start doing this, it will, because I'm visual and it was really small on my screen.
Yeah.
So when I see it, it's going to make a lot more sense, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 100%. And also, again, I'm happy to do like little one-on-ones, but there's little training videos in there and stuff like that that you can kind of go through.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Joanne.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I loved your post about, the Cruisin' and putting that on your, on your social media and putting your link. How can you confidently, and you said it in capital letters, say that I'm going to try to get you the best price? How do you confidently say that, knowing that as travel agents, we don't really, whatever prices we see are whatever what the clients see? So how do you confidently say that and then achieve that?
Well, even if the client was to search Royal Caribbean and they got a price that I searched as a travel agent, that's the same price. It's still the best price on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Like I'm not
okay.
saying I'm not saying I'm going to get you a discount. I'm saying
Or
we'll get you the best price that's available.
so not better price, but just the best price that's out
That's
there.
correct. Yeah, because who knows, right? But also, Joanne, keep in mind, if you do have the type of person that is like a researcher and they're finding promo codes and all of that stuff, just like Maxine shared, you as an advisor, whatever promo code they have, if it's an active promotion within that cruise line or they're a repeat sailor, you've got access to all of that same stuff as well. So one of the things that we take Cruisin' out of the equation, right? One of the things we do with some clients is first off, if somebody's going to say, well, like it's the same price with you, so I don't even want to book it with you. I want to go book it with the cruise line. I'd be like, well, fine. Like, I don't want you to be my client anyway, right? But if somebody is like very particular and they're like, we have definitely, when we look at the commissions, let's say we're going to make $300 on that particular cabin, we have definitely offered to clients, once your booking is complete and once you've sailed, we'll send you a nice bottle of wine or a $50 gift card or something like that. So we have on occasion like maybe made a $25 payment towards their cruise, saving them $25. But the reality is the people that are the best clients are the ones that want you to serve them And so I don't ever say we're going to get you a better price than you can find, but we will get them the best price that's available. And then sometimes on some bookings, depends on the cruise line, depends on the sailing, there may be amenities that we have, like maybe a free cabin category upgrade or a $25 onboard credit that they wouldn't get if they were to book as retail. So it really depends on the particular sailing, but always I'll get them the best price available.
And I have
Oh,
another. Oh,
Joanne, Katie said she wants to share something, so she's popping in.
Well, I just want to help because on our Alaska cruise that we just did the 3 cabins for, if you were on or not,
I was.
Princess is running, like if you go to princess.com, which is their customer site, big bold letters, up to 40% off and $99 deposit and blah, blah, blah. Like this is our sale. And I'm like, that's amazing. But here's the thing, in tiny letters under it, it'll say select cruises only. So the thing about it, so this is what we tell people, like if you have a promo or you see something that's like, out there, and this is why you want to book with us, we will search that promo and we will let you know if your cruise applies, or if that's all you want, we'll find you the cruises that it applies to, because it doesn't always apply to every cruise. Same thing with Royal Caribbean. And so I did a double check. They didn't even ask, but I did a double check, and their particular cruise date was very specific, and their cruise is not included in the 40% off. So just remember that, like if clients, for anybody, if clients come to you and say, I saw that Royal Caribbean is offering like 50% off their sailings, it's usually 50% off select sailings, and they typically leave that word out.
Yeah.
So just kind of double check that, and then that's how you can get around that.
And one other quick story, Joanne, I know you have another question. And then Donna had a great point in the chat. We also have another client that we booked 4 months ago or whatever on an Alaska cruise tour, just an Alaska cruise, not a cruise tour. And I want you all to think about this. This is the benefit of being a travel advisor, okay, versus just a transactional agent. We literally booked, was it 3 cabins or 4 cabins?
They had 4.
We booked 4 cabins for this family going to Alaska. It was like the day after or 2 days after, I think it was Labor Day, Princess ran a Labor Day special. And so we got that notification. Client didn't even ask us about it. We logged in, looked at the exact same sailing that we just did. And in this particular case, from one day to the next, the price was the exact same, but the new promo included $100 of onboard credit per person. So $200 for 2 adults. So we then called Princess or called One Source and said, hey guys, this promo just came out. We just booked this yesterday. Can you apply that to the customer? They're like, no. We're like, you're stupid. You should do that. They said, well, can we cancel the booking and then rebook? They said yes. So then we went to the client and we said, hey, just so you all know, today through the next 72 hours, there's a promo that if you wanted us to cancel your booking, you'll get a refund of your deposit. I can't guarantee that we're going to get the exact cabin because as soon as we cancel it, somebody else may book it, but we can get the same cabin category for the same price with $200 of onboard credit. Would you like to do that? 3 of the 4 said yes. 1 of the 4 said no. And so as an advisor, we did do that for the client. Does that make sense?
You did, and when you got the notification, you got it through email because you were the travel agent, so it's something specific to you, or like about this specific sailing, or
It was just because we subscribed to the cruise line's newsletter, so it was just
okay,
their
like a
normal.
general, It wasn't
That's right.
specific to the booking that you did.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. Yeah, and that's like Katie was saying. We then checked it to see if it did apply, and it did apply to their particular sailing, which is why we went back and did that. But it was just a general email.
All right. And my other question is, I do have a couple clients, one of them specifically in Canada, and she's looking to book a Disney cruise. She's my cousin. And but when she gets into her Disney.com like website, it's the Canadian version, so it gives her the US prices and it gives her Canadian prices, and obviously anybody in a foreign country wants to pay in their foreign currency if that's an option. So how do I, as a travel advisor, is that something have to get access to, the Canadian side of the Disney site as well, or how do you deal with foreign?
I'd I'd ask Disney specifically about that. Go into your Disney travel agents portal, go to
Okay.
the live chat or support. I don't know the answer to that one, so just ask them.
All right. So you've never like done foreign
We've done some
country.
We've done some quotes for some people internationally, but not that I can recall that we've actually completed the booking. But even if we had, I would still recommend, because each case may be different, each vendor may be a little bit different. So I would just always lean on the travel suppliers.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Maxine says she has an answer for Disney. So Maxine, if maybe you want to type that and then Joanne can read that. Let me get to these other questions. So we'll go Donna, Cynthia, and then John. And thanks everybody for staying on with us.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying about changing rates, because it's not unusual. I have clients who just call and say, oh, we just saw the sale, but they booked 6 months ago and now their prices dropped. Can we change it?
That's right.
And I say, maybe. let, let me find out what the rules are. Let me find out what the terms and conditions are. Sometimes it's new bookings only, and
That's
they
right.
have a non-refund. And sometimes it makes sense, because if they have a refundable deposit, then they can cancel and rebook and get a lower fare. But if they have a non-refundable deposit, then it generally doesn't make sense.
That's right.
So it's just not a yes or no answer. It depends.
It depends. That's right. That's right. Katie's over here going, preach it, girl, preach it. So to those of you that are new travel agents, new travel advisors, again, I know we've covered a lot of stuff today, right? And the industry itself, it does have some moving parts. It does have some complexities and so forth. But as you get into it, again, I told this to 2 different people that I had one-on-ones with today through Levarti. The number one resource that I will tell each and every one of you is whatever questions you have, go to that travel supplier's agent support. Even if, like, literally today, let me just show this to you, because I'll show you the amount of times we called into travel suppliers today. Katie created this as a Facebook post. So, the stupid light blocks the way. Cynthia and John, I'm coming to you. Like, let me read it. Okay. We called at 9:03 a.m. to Royal Caribbean groups. We called at 10:28 a.m. to Princess 2 separate times. We called 11:03 a.m. to Royal Caribbean groups and 11:11 a.m. to Royal Caribbean groups. Can you see this? Like, this was just today. And Katie also turned this into a marketing post where she said, benefits of booking with a travel advisor. We will sit on hold to get your questions answered so you don't have to. So just know, even to this day, we made 5 or 6 calls to the cruise lines about bookings that we have just to make sure we had our ducks in a row with everything. So Cynthia and then John.
Okay, back to that example of the customer that said, you can save, what was it, get a $200 credit, something like that.
Yep.
Is there a risk in doing that refund? Is there any risk, or would it be wise to tell the customer, listen, we can do this, but there's a risk that you won't get any cabin in that category? Because I mean, literally somebody could, how do you handle that other than just telling them and then letting them make the choice?
Yeah, so it's a fantastic question. I'll let Katie share in a second. So the answer is there's definitely a risk. One of the things we had done was this was booked early, probably Labor Day 2024 for a summer 2025, July 2025. So we went in. You can, as an agent, you can get the kind of the, not the exact number of cabins, but you can see inventory that's available, like more than 10 cabins available in this particular category class. So we had kind of known that there were cabins available, but when we do it, it's like we need to book the new one and then cancel, or cancel and then book right away, because that is there. But Katie?
Yeah. So typically when we do it, and I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time. And the things to remember, as he said, is it was way early. So like the client here with Alaska, I did tell them that I'd keep an eye out, but I also reminded them, you're sailing in May of this year and their final deposit is February. So if their final, you can't, their final payment date. So you really can't make changes like that after final payment date anyway. And if you're doing after final payment date, then you're risking, it's a lot harder. Not to mention, this sailing is almost already sold out for Alaska, but in Labor Day of last year for July of 2025, there was still plenty of space. So just like to Donna's point, who I said is so wise, the answer to these questions is it always depends. There's always a risk and it always depends. And to my amazing husband's credit, he's always saying, let me tell you the parameters. Let me tell you, like, these are the risks. this is what's going to happen. We're fine to do it, and we'll do it to the best of our ability, and also know that like it might not come back out. And so to that question, when he said that we had 3 people that did it and the 4th cabin did not, the reason why, they were ADA accessible. So she did not want to lose her cabin. She did not want to take the risk of taking a $200 onboard credit versus losing the room that she needed for accessibility and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
always important to give the client every single detail that you can and letting them know that there's some things that are out of your control.
Yeah, that was a great question, Cynthia. John, and then we'll probably start wrapping it up here. But John.
Hey, I just had a quick question. I was trying to we talked I think last week or the week before about Viator, and so my Viator is still connected with Travalogy. So I reached out to Viator and I was like, "Hey, I am with RSI Vacations, blah blah blah," and they're like, "Oh yeah, no problem. We'll go ahead and we'll send you a link to your RSI email." It was like mymembergetaway.com or whatever, and I'm like, well, I don't have I don't have an RSI email. And they're like, well, figure it out, talk to RSI and let us know. And so then I like filled out that form, and on the 25th I'm still waiting to hear from someone about how do I get an RSI email if Viator is telling me that that's the only way I can sign up with RSI.
John, I remember your original support request. Did you get my first reply?
I just got a reply that said I should check the Levarti community.
Okay, John, I replied to your original email.
Okay.
I'll send you I've got your email. I'll send you a direct email when we get off this call. Let me,
Okay.
since that's really specific, I'll get with you directly.
Okay. Yeah, I was just confused because I was like, I don't have an email for RSI. Like, so
Yeah.
I didn't see anything come from you on my original request though. So yeah, if you would just want to follow up with me, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to forward you the email that I replied to Levarti support for them to get to, but you and I will work on that together.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Thanks, Greg. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Jessica says, is Rallyo only? Oh, Katie's answering that. All right. Anybody else got any questions? Are we good for tonight? Margaret says, Margaret, I've replied to those emails. So for those who let me just talk about kind of Levarti support for a quick second. So when you submit a ticket to Levarti, a support ticket to Levarti, the support folks are answering them, but if they can't answer in them, they're sending them to me for like a tier 2 type of travel agent thing. And Margaret, I did reply to yours because I remember your email coming through probably 2 days ago or 3 days ago. So if you haven't received an email by tomorrow morning, just shoot me a message on Facebook because I did reply back on those. So
I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah.
I did get a couple of, or I got access to a few like fax and a few of them, but I still haven't been able to get access to Expedia and One Source and the cruise lines. So
did you at least get the reply email? Yes or no about those? Okay. So there's something hung up in, because I did reply specifically about Expedia. I remember that email. So if you don't have an answer by tomorrow morning on something, or you haven't gotten my reply from a few days ago over the weekend, just send me a message on Facebook and we'll connect.
I will do that. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, because I know you've got some quotes to do for folks as well.
Yes, I do. So thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys, gals, it's 9:22, so we went a lot over today. So remember, the Cruising app is completely free to use. Feel free to kind of play around, get your kind of tutorials on that, and we'll see everybody next Monday. Have a great one. Bye-bye.